I was
Am I
born.
looking?
I was born ready.
Namaste, Adab, Sat Sri Akal. Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to everybody who's joining in according to your time zones. A very, very warm welcome to all the viewers to the Shruti Dutt Show of Inspiring Conversations. Have we started? So, this show is basically meant to inspire anybody who needs inspiration. And I try almost every month to bring somebody very interesting, very inspiring, whom we can meet behind the scenes and get to know the person as he is or as she is, so that we can learn something from their lives, so that we can take back something and imbibe it in our own lives. And maybe we could learn something, maybe something in their stories could help us heal and move forward in our own lives. So with that mind, the Shruti Dutt Show is there as an inspiring conversation on 10 News for all of you. And I welcome you once again on this show. So today I'm really very excited because I have a very, very interesting person, a very, very inspiring person all the way from UK. And his name itself has the word inspire. And that is what got me connected to him. Because as I keep telling you all always, that my only mission in life now is to stay inspired and to inspire others. So this word itself was, when I read his name, I connected to his Instagram and I got to know him, and we played some speaking games one night, and it was a lot of fun, and that's how we got connected. And then the most wonderful thing that I got to know, that he is actually has this mission, his heart is there, that he can inspire and heal the whole world. So his vision is for the whole world, and part of his vision is about creating a book called Turn Your Mess into Message. And in that book, he has brought together almost 50 authors from all over the world, from Australia, Netherlands, UK, Africa, what have you. I think we have people sending their stories from all over the world, and we're all joining in to create this very beautiful book, which should be like, a handbook for every youngster, every person who is facing any kind of difficulty or deadlock in their life, because there'll be some story that you could relate to. There'll be some story in that book which will give you the right inspiration, the right thought that you just need. So, without wasting much time, I want you to welcome Warren Inspire, an international speaker, confidence coach, who's the founder of the Fearless Speaking Academy. He is also already a bestseller author. And let's meet. Very warm welcome to you, Warren. And let's hear from your own mouth. What are you all about? Where are you from? What are you doing? Just can you share with my viewers?
I can. Hi, Shruti. Thank you for inviting me on the show today. I'm so excited to be tuning in all the way from the UK. I'm Warren Inspire. I've been speaking now for 13 years, and I teach entrepreneurs, business owners on how to speak on stages so that they can add value and impact thousands of people's lives. And I've been doing that now for, around 10 years. And I'm now launching a project called Turn Your Mess into Your Message, of people who have interesting stories, powerful stories from around the world. And yeah, it's growing, Shruti, it's growing. And that's kind of my journey right now, is I'm helping people to get their stories out there so that we can impact 1 million lives around the world.
But where did this thought of impacting 1 million lives come to you, Warren? Why 1 million lives?
So 13 years ago, I had
Yeah.
a spiritual awakening. And prior to me going through, I went through depression 13 years ago. And I'd never shared my story to anyone. I had a fear of judgment, a fear of feeling broken. But when I shared my story online, it went viral. I had messages from around the world, from Australia to India to America to around Africa, saying, Warren, I don't know who you are, but your story, I can relate to it. You've inspired me. And so from that moment, something inside me said, I'm going to reach 1 million lives. And I did it in
Awesome.
and I did it in 3 years. So the idea of reaching 1 million lives as a collective of people together, that's where the number came from. 1 million to me kind of seems like a lot of people. So, and it's almost like a goal. It's a goal that, can we reach this goal? So that's where the 1 million lives come from. I feel like if we can impact 1 million, that can make a big difference in this world.
So that's wonderful. For you, for us in India, million is not too much. So I'm sure you're going to get the goal very fast now that you've connected to India and Indians. And I'm also part of your book. So that goal should be very easy to achieve now. So tell me, Warren, have you had any, like you said, Indians also reached out to you and said your story was very inspiring. So have you had any Indian friends and Indian people, and what do you think about the country at large? And do you feel that, Indians also have very inspiring stories actually? Have you heard any inspiring Indian stories so far?
Yes, so I've met many people from India. I've had clients that have lived in India, and I've had friends that have been like second generation of people that have come over from India to the UK that I've grown up with in school. So yeah, I've got many stories, but I've never been to India yet. I say yet because it's in the plan. I want to do an event in India, in New Delhi. I'm coming. But yeah, no. So a lot of the people that I know that are from India, very hardworking, very driven, business-minded people. A lot of my friends are business-minded. They've opened shops and multiple shops, very good at business, and a few of my clients that actually who I've coached via them living in India were just a pleasure. Like Indian people are very polite. They're very polite. They're very giving. They especially with food as well. They love to feed you. They love to feed my
That's
friends.
true.
Yeah. So yeah, my experience with people
No,
in India has been beautiful.
good. So I think you've had the right kind of experiences because yes, India is known for hospitality and especially Delhi from where I come from. So Delhi is the food capital of our country and I feel it's the food capital of the world. And Delhi walo ko to, they say dil hota hai bahut bada. Dil is heart. So they have the heart to, welcome, feed, show a lot of hospitality. So that's really interesting. And that you've already connected to so many Indians. I'm happy to hear that. And also, our own PM, our Mr. PM Modi, our Mahatma Gandhi, these are stories I'm sure you must have heard. What kind of background they come from and where they've reached with their, absolute determination of their mind. And they're all excellent speakers. Don't you think so, Warren?
Definitely. Yeah, I do.
Yes. So I want to hear a bit about your personal story, like which place, which area of the world you belong to, and where did you grow up, and let's hear all that inspiring story which people wrote to you about, when you shared it. Can you share it for my viewers, please, and for
I
me
can.
also? I don't know much about it.
Yes. So I grew up in a very famous city in the UK called Oxford, notoriously known for
I've been there.
universities, cathedrals, the Oxford Dictionary. It's very sort of like upper class, posh. But my part of Oxford that I grew up in was a very deprived part. Poverty was big. My mother had me when she was 17 years old, so a very young mother. I have three younger siblings. Life was very tough as a kid, as a child. My mother had some, health issues. So her family, I got put into the foster care system. So in the UK, so my family got split up. So I lived with many families as a kid. Always felt,
That must have been
yeah, it was tough. I felt broken.
very tough.
I felt broken. I felt like a second class citizen. I felt worthless. I felt like, yeah, just I just had no confidence. I was shy. I had a speech impediment. I couldn't communicate effectively. And when I was 16 years old, I managed to make it as a professional soccer player. So I was playing soccer professionally, and then that became my mask of confidence because people loved me. I was good at football, and I thought I was, living the dream. But little did I know that I didn't love me. So back in 2012, I went through depression. And when I say depression, I talk about it as my catalyst. So when I went through depression, it became the journey of me finding oneself. So I started to study me. I started to ask these questions that I've never asked before. And I got answers that would change my whole life. It allowed me to be myself, the person who I really was, not the person who, trauma conditioned my mindset to be. I learned how to create the person that I am today. And then that story, for me doing this, it led me to America. In America, they say the land of the dreams. Like, so you move there. I moved to
Yeah.
America, and I was around so many positive people that had similar stories to myself, and they came from nothing, from poverty to becoming self-made, living their best life, serving humanity. And I was like, if they can do this, so can I. So that's what I did.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I managed to journal, to document the journey on social media, and my brand, the following grew. And then I started speaking around the world, teaching people the art of communication so they can speak on stages, so they can turn their mess into their message.
So I just want to go back to the part where you said you were very depressed, but that
Yes.
acted as a catalyst because that was a time you got to self-reflect and to think about, who you are and where you want to go, and like not just a soccer player, something much more than that. So you probably realize that you are much, your capacities are much beyond that, and that's what you want to do. So, but in that process, like, what was it that helped you come out of that? Was it a friend? Was it a coach? Was it somebody like, or was it something you read? How did that happen?
Yes. So my first ever mentor was a man called Thong from Vietnam. And so I started studying this whilst I was in America. And he came to America on the boats. So with like, the Vietnam, the issues that was happening in Vietnam, he came over from Vietnam to America with nothing. So he became my mentor. And he was telling me, Warren, it's not what you've been through in life, it's the story that you tell yourself. And then he gave me books. The first book I ever read was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And when I read that book, it just it blew my mind. So that's when I realized that this is not fixed. Like I can change this. I can't change the past, but I can change the story of the past, and that changes everything in the future.
I'm absolutely with you on that. Change Your Story Today is my book too. You've read that. Did you like the book?
Loved your book. Loved your book. Yeah, and the amazing stories in your book as well. But it is, yeah, it is all down to changing your story. Once you change your story, your whole life changes.
Yes, it's all about your self talk. If you keep telling yourself that you're really not that good or you can't come out of a situation, it becomes more and more difficult to do that. But when we start telling ourselves and giving our own subconscious positive messages, that's the time when we are on 10 News and we are talking to each other across the world. And this is what we achieve, right?
Exactly.
A great connection at an international level where we are together inspiring all our viewers. Isn't that beautiful?
So beautiful.
So, Yeah, I'm really happy about that. And connecting to you and the whole group of Turn Your Mess into a Message. I have connected to such wonderful ladies, such wonderful people. I still have to meet quite a few of them and get to know more. But I'm really happy that I'm on board on this project with you. So thank you for, thinking about it and creating such a wonderful project. So I'm sure it will go to a lot of people, who will get inspired. And your story, somewhere I heard you also have spoken about getting very inspired by Eric Thomas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can
Eric,
you? What was it about Eric Thomas? What are his teachings? What is it that you really took back? Can you share with all of us?
I can. Eric Thomas was the first speaker that really captivated my attention because he was sharing things that lots of people don't share, especially when you live in a country with culture. It's it's frowned upon to be different. And whenever you go through life events or anything to do with personal issues, you kind of keep it behind closed doors. But Eric Thomas was sharing, stuff that lots of us keep to ourselves. So that showed me how much strength. And actually, again, the story, he didn't feel like a victim. So Eric Thomas inspired me to realize that it doesn't matter what you go through in life. The thing that matters is the story that you tell yourself and using your pain for you rather than against you. And Eric Thomas taught me that when you share your story, you claim your power.
Yes.
That's what I love about Eric Thomas.
Yeah. So yes, so he's the one who encouraged you to get onto the stage and start talking and sharing. Oh, that's so wonderful. So he also, I think, somewhere has told you that it's not important where you start; it's important where you end, right? So
100%.
how and where you're going to end is what should be your vision, what should be on your mind all the time, and not worry about like for example you've had a very difficult past, being in foster homes and not having enough money and struggling at every level, and still you are where you are today because of your change in mindset. So, and also I think you came out of addiction, right? You went
Uh,
into
yeah, no, no, yeah, no addiction.
no
Yeah, no
no
addiction.
addiction. Okay, that's cool. I don't know why I read somewhere. I thought maybe you've
My
shared
mother,
that part. Oh, your
yes,
mother was
yes,
okay.
my mother was she was addicted to drugs.
Okay, okay. So was she able to come out of it finally?
Yeah. My mum's now 24 years drug free.
That's wonderful. Congratulations. And did you help her do that?
I wouldn't say I helped her, but maybe I was her children were the reason, the why for her to, come off drugs.
Okay, that's cool. That's really nice. I'm happy to hear that. So, any other like inspirational story can you share with us, which you'll be sharing in your book?
Yes, so what I've learned so far in my my short life is life is about perspective. It's again like it is big on your story that what you've gone through in your life can become the survival guide for somebody else who is struggling. And this is what I've learned that Shruti, the biggest lessons that I ever teach in life is who I am as a person, because who I am speaks louder than what I say. And
Absolutely.
and this is why I'm very open and I'm very, I share my story publicly because I want people to realize where I came from. And that just proves what anything is possible, that it does not matter where you come from in life, it's the story that you tell yourself. And yeah, so this book with the different co-authors in the book, with different stories, even though there's different stories, there's elements that we all have the same from around the world. So when you have those elements from around the world, from universal, even with you, Shruti, is that we've all come to a place of self awareness and
Yes.
understanding oneself and the mindset and that shift that we've all come from being a victim to being a teacher. It's that realization where you're like, I'm no longer ashamed of my story because my story carries weight.
So, Warren, you've written a book called The Art of Being Yourself or something like that. Is that true?
Yeah.
So, do you have that book somewhere? Can we see it? Is it near
Yes.
you?
Yes. So
Let's see
this is
that.
yeah. So this is the book. It's called The Art of Being
Of
Yourself.
Being Yours. And
I
it's
yeah.
available on Amazon. So, I wish people can buy it and read it and get to know more about the art of being yourself. So, can you tell us a little bit from the book, like what have you shared?
Yes.
A
So
little.
yeah. So what took me 13 years to master the mind to be able to create the life that I'm living now. So traveling the world, starting my own business, having an abundance of confidence in my life, which I never had. I've put all of the recipes, I call them recipes because you don't have to put in the years of work that it took me. So the recipe is in the book, the strategies on how to master your mind. And when you master the mind, you create the life, the reality, the person that you want to become. So that's the power of my book. When you read my book, if you need to be in a place that if you want to improve, want to change your life, but you don't know how, the book is for you.
The art of being yourself.
The
So
art
tell me,
of being yourself.
Warren, you are also a father, am I right?
Yes, I am a father.
Tell us something about your being a father and your vision for your children and what you're doing for them and what are they doing for you.
Yes. So being a father to me is everything. I would see it as my most important role that that I'm playing in this world, you know. And growing up without a father, this was always a moment in my life that when I held my baby in my arms, like this was going to be, you know, the magic that I've waited my whole life because I've never had that father and son connection. So I was blessed, you know, I was blessed to have my first boy when I was 27 years old. And, you know, being this parent, I wanted to learn. I didn't want to wing. I didn't want to wing parenting. I didn't want to just go, oh, let me just use my own experience of how I grew up to parent my children. So studying. So, you know, a book I read on parenting was called The Conscious Parent. And this book, again, is changed my life on parenting and learning how to actually become a student to my children as well. So, yeah, being a father is the best feeling in the world. It gives me so much purpose and it requires me to keep on improving and becoming, you know, a better person.
So yeah, becoming a parent is, your whole character, everything kind of changes when you decide to take responsibility of new lives and, look into their future. And of course, conscious parenting is the one from Shifali, am I right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, she talks a lot about letting the child be and letting them be themselves and come out in their original selves, which is so true, which is really required. And of course, parenting in India is very protective. Indian parents are very overprotective about their children. At least mine were very conservative, very, very protective. I've tried to be a little less, but still, I think my children feel I have been quite protective.
Yeah,
But it's, I think, generation to generation, we learn new ways, and as the society requires in wherever you're living. Of course, it's important. I'm glad you read the book because it's important to think about what kind of parenting you're doing and how you can improve it. And
definitely.
very few fathers get into doing something like that, I think. So this should be, I think, a good tip for all the fathers out there, that they can also think about improving their parenting skills. And if they are not aware of how to do that, they can go and read some interesting books on parenting. Conscious Parenting is one of them, and some other beautiful books that are out there. So
Definitely.
it's quite easy to find them on Amazon now. At our time, we didn't have the net, we didn't have all this. So I used to read a magazine called Parenting. And I used to get a lot of tips from there and then use my own mind, because I have been a parent to 3 children. And now, of course, they're all married. So it was always a challenge, and it was always, good to learn and try to understand what would be the best way, and try to do whatever best. Every parent tries to do their best, of course.
That's it.
So yeah, and it's important, because where you're going, trying to change the whole world, it's first, everything begins at home first, isn't it? So
Definitely.
we all must do that. So tell us something more about your life in UK. What is a day in Warren's life like? How much do you read? How much do you write? How much do you speak? Like, what is it? What happens in your life? Tell us. Let's share that with us.
Yes.
And
Great.
how do you begin your morning? How do you challenge your day? I want to know everything.
Amazing. So yeah, my life now, since I found self-development, is all about, routine, having a morning routine and having an evening routine, which is now it's habitual, is brushing my teeth. So the first thing I do in a day of my life, I wake up in the morning, a 3-part process, which I do every morning, and it helps me to overcome whatever's going to go through happening in that day. Life is going to have life events. So I'm not going to just wing it, wake up and go, oh, hopefully today's going to be a good day. So the 3-part process that I do is I wake up and I do my gratitude list. 5 things I'm grateful for, not just I'm grateful for my home. I feel the emotion. I take my mind to that gratitude, and I really feel how grateful I am for those 5 things I'm grateful for that morning. And then that puts me in a state of, you can't be grateful and down at the same time. So I fill myself up with gratitude. Then my why of what this whole purpose of life, why am I here? What am I here to do? What is the why? Because the more that you focus on the why, so when I go through the why, my why here is to die empty, is to impact as many people's lives as possible in a positive way, is to become the best version of myself, is to be able to break the cycle that I grew up in, so my children can flourish in the hard work and the labor that I've put down and the foundation that I've put down. So that why gets my armor on. It gets me in a state of mind where I'm ready to take on the day and to do whatever needs to be done to get myself to where I need to be. And then the last one is a vision. So visualization, meditation is really important. So what I focus on is, like, for example, the idea of the book, Turn Your Mess into Your Message. I saw it in here first. I knew the impact it was going to have in here. So the visualization of visualizing where I'm going to be, the feelings that are attached to where I'm going to be. So when I get there, how am I going to feel? And that excitement, that feeling, what it does, it creates, again, the belief that it's possible, the characteristics, but because the mind doesn't know what's real and what's not real. So therefore I can create the characteristics. I know the resources that I'm looking for. So the visualization gets me in a place where it takes away self-doubt, and it creates faith, blind faith, that I don't have to see it in order to achieve it. So yeah, that 3-part process takes me normally around 10-15 minutes in the morning. And then when I get up in the morning, I then go and have something nice and light for breakfast. I don't eat too much for breakfast, but then I'm scheduling my day of what I've got to do, my to-do list, and then I do social media, coach my clients, I go for a dog walk in nature, and I try to add some spontaneity in my life. I like to change things up. So sometimes if I walk the dog this way, I have to go different ways to keep life interesting. So yeah, that's what my life, a day in my life involves. I love reading as well. I read your book, Shruti. You know, Change Your Story Today. This book here, I read it. I love your book.
Oh, I love you for that.
Amazing book, and the stories in it as well. And I believe in that. I believe that, you know, once you change your story, everything changes. You can transform your whole life. So I'm a big advocate on studying, on learning, and sharpening my sword of my skill set and of life. So yeah, that's my life. It's a
Okay,
very
so that's your morning you shared, your 5 gratitudes you said.
five
So yes,
gratitudes
we've
of my
all,
envision.
yes. So in India, we believe that our fingers, 10 fingers God has given us, right? And these fingers are like the antenna to the spiritual energies. And so I do 10 gratitudes every day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So, so I keep, my coach taught me to do this and say 10 gratitudes every day. So that's also a very wonderful way of doing it. So I do that, similar stuff. And I don't do too much visualization somehow because I keep feeling that, especially after the corona, I try to limit my visualization to just, a little bit ahead, not too far ahead.
Mm.
And affirmations, yes, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't do. I think I need to do more, maybe. And but tell me something. When we visualize a lot of things, I go overboard when I visualize, and then how does one create the actions towards that visualization? So, how do you work on that? Do you visualize yourself doing the actions towards what you need to do finally, like the final picture? Or do you just keep it there and let it be and then continue your work as it is? Or
So
do you take conscious like steps towards your final vision?
yeah, so no, when I visualize, I visualize just the destination of how I'm gonna feel, the
Okay.
excitement. So what that does then, it gives me the incentive that if I keep on pushing and growing, I'm gonna feel that emotion.
Okay. That's interesting. So it's about all about the emotion that you will feel once you reach there. That's all. Okay. And then what about your night ritual? Like you said, in the night also I have some,
Yes,
rituals and yeah.
yes.
What do you do in the night before you
So
sleep?
yeah, so nighttime is, you know, I believe in God, so prayer is a big thing for me as well. And meditation again, I have like a guided meditation with self-love, because you've always got to top up your self-love. This is really important that you tap up your self-love. So yeah, so I always finish off with, you know, because that's when, you know, the subconscious mind is the most, you know, open to receiving new information. So yeah, a meditation, and I like to unwind, turn the phones off, social media off, away from the bedroom, and then yeah, fall asleep. That's my.
Do you sleep well? How many hours do you sleep?
I sleep 4 to 5 hours a night,
Okay.
and yeah, and then I nap in the day as well. So I'll have 20-minute naps within the day,
Okay.
and it kind of
Okay. Power naps.
yeah, power naps. But
That's
if you
nice.
sleep, if you sleep longer than the 20 minutes, you feel more tired when you wake up.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, because as I'm growing older, I'm a little more wakeful. I don't sleep as much, and I do, try to do my gratitudes in the night before sleeping also, and do some meditation and sleep. But sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes I start thinking about what I need to do the next day and all that. So I stay awake. So tell me something more about something interesting about your life. You do you have any pets at home?
Yes, I've got a dog called Max who's trying to get on camera now. I'm pushing him away from.
Oh,
Yeah,
you can bring him on. You can bring him on, no problem.
come on, Max.
Oh, what
This
a
is Max.
cutie.
He's
Oh, what a cutie.
been patiently waiting for me to finish so that he can play.
And
Yeah.
and tell us something about your wife also. Is she also into coaching and speaking, or what does she do?
So I don't have a wife. Yeah, so I don't have a wife now. Yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, so I'm just, yeah, it's just me, Max, and the children.
Okay. So you're taking care of all of them. That's wonderful.
Yes, that's it. Super dad mode.
Okay. Okay. So, anything else that you would like to share with our viewers about fearless speaking? Because you're a fearless speaker and you've become a fearless speaker. I'm sure you didn't begin that way. And so, what are the tips you can give us for being able to speak from stage without any fear?
Definitely. So first of all, what I would say is if anyone's watching this right now and you're struggling with your well-being, or if you feel stuck, you feel lost, you feel like, what's my purpose in this world? I always tell people contribution, service, helping other people, it fills the purpose cup up a lot. So you once you understand that concept that actually helping others helps yourself, it then becomes like this need to speak out. I didn't grow up thinking I'm going to be a public speaker one day. This was a calling. I had to share this because I suffered a lot with depression, anxiety. And what happened was when I found, the strategies to overcome and to build this self-awareness, I needed to share it with other people. So the thing was, I was terrified of public speaking, so scared of public speaking. So I started studying the psychology. I started studying the mind, and I realized that there's two types of fears. There's danger fear. So if you're in the jungle in India, right, and you see a tiger, you don't try and fight the tiger. The tiger will eat you. That fear is good. That's danger fear. But then you have
Yeah.
another type of fear, and this another fear is called ego-based fear. And this fear played a good role back in the caveman days when people had to stay in communities, otherwise they would be a snack for a saber-toothed tiger. But in 2023, ego-based fear doesn't really serve you, and people have the same symptoms as if they've seen a tiger whilst they're on a stage. And the great thing is, what I do and how I coach my clients is to turn off this ego-based fear so that you can be yourself and speak one to many, to thousands of people, feeling confident, no fear whatsoever. And that's what I do with my clients. I help them to understand the psychology. I take them through the steps, and then they become fearless speakers. And then once you do it once, it's contagious. Once you do it once, you want to do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah, I suppose once you've gone on stage and shared and people have appreciated, then you realize that you need to share more and it becomes easier. It's like anything, when we practice anything. So do you feel that speaking requires a lot of practice, like going again and again, or you can turn into a fearless speaker overnight?
So what I actually do, so when I do events of 1,000+ people, I transform people in 10 minutes on a stage. So when I spoke in Vietnam, for example, in Vietnam, they're as a country, very reserved, very, quite introverted. And so in 10 minutes, I would make someone who was like, hi, I'm, Layla. And in 10 minutes, it's like, hi, everyone, I'm Layla. And I don't know why I had this fear of public speaking, because I worried too much about what other people thought of me. So you can overcome the fear fast, but to be a great public speaker, it's not just about overcoming the fear. It's about learning how to communicate effectively. How do you
Absolutely.
transfer? Yeah, how do you transfer what you know? How can you change it into a way where your audience understands it, and not only understands it but implements? Because if people don't make change when you're speaking after you speak, then you're just speaking for the sake of speaking.
That's true. So it's important
Practice.
to, yeah, I totally believe that whatever you share, if it is going to be transformational, if it is going to bring that positive change where people, can really connect to what you're trying to say to them and imbibe your, um, values or your thoughts, to make a big difference in this world, to create a better world where we're all together, we're all working together to heal the world, as our book is going to do. And this has been an awesome conversation with you, Warren. I'm so glad that you could come online and share your life with my viewers also. And I'm really looking forward to the completion of Turn Your Mess into Message, and going around the world, talking about it, inspiring people, and meeting a lot of more inspiring people in this world. We all need that, don't we? Especially after the corona. So some things corona has done good, that it's brought so many of us together, because at the human level we are all one energy. And as in India, we say Vasudev Kutumbakam, the world is a family, it's a global family. We are all the same. As human beings, we have the same kind of emotions, the same kind of sufferings, the same kind of feeling. And, this whole thing about differentiating between people and what we, creating classes, creating different levels of people, all that is, unfortunate, but it's of course a part of the world. But there are some wonderful people like you who are coming out, and there are so many others who are working on it and trying to bring everyone together and create a century of humanism in future. So that is what is required. We need a century of humanism, a century of revolution, where human beings can be together. We can all turn our messes into messages, and hopefully not have too much of mess in this world soon, so that we have better stories to tell, our children have better stories to tell in the future. So on that note, I want you also to share something finally with my viewers, and then we will end the conversation. So what is your message to each person as a human being, Warren? What do you think they should be doing?
Yes. My first message would be actually, if there's anyone watching this from India that would like to be a part of this amazing, book, feel free to contact Shruti. And my message to every single one of you is that there's no such thing as a coincidence. So everything in your life has had to happen in divine order for you to become the person that you needed to become to serve your purpose in this world. That every person that you meet, every life event, everything that you've experienced in life will shape the person that you're going to become in the future to serve your purpose in this world. And that you matter. In a world of so many people, you matter. And if you feel like, life has happened to you and you feel like your life is going through, your life is a mess, your mess is actually your message to help other people in this world.
Wonderful. So the point is that in case you are going through a situation which you're finding very tough, in case you're feeling you're in a chaotic situation or your life is messed up, please do not worry too much about it. Just take charge, be determined, and one day this mess, whichever you are in, will become your message for the world. You can make it happen. Tell yourself you can do it. If you decide to do it, you can and you will. And we would like to hear your stories. At least I would love to hear your story as soon as possible. And you can write to me on coachshrutidutt@gmail.com. I will be happy to connect with anybody who can share a very inspiring story of their own journey. And maybe we can get it into the book too. So that would be really lovely. So thank you, Warren, so much. And thank you so much for coming on my show. I'm sure a lot of viewers would have taken back something very inspiring from this conversation. And I hope to connect to you again very soon. Once the book is out, we will be on the show again with the rest of the authors also next time.
Yeah. And
So thank you
I'm
so
coming
much.
I'm coming to India as well. So if anyone out there, we'll do a big event in India and I'll show everyone the power of the work that we do as well in India.
Sure. We'll have you in India. Welcome to India very soon. We'll organize
Amazing.
that too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shruti. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you.